Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address. Thank you for coming to our community and allowing us to speak before you also. My name is David R. Saucedo, and I'm the County Judge of Maverick County. I'm here representing Commissioners Court and the people of this county, the great majority of whom oppose the Republicas open pit coal mine. I want to make the following formal comments in opposition to the granting of a wastewater discharge permit to the Republicas Coal Partnership by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. I do not present myself as an expert in the technical issues involved in this permit application. My attorneys and others who have studied the details of this application tell me there are numerous deficiencies in it regarding the protection of our ground and surface water. Therefore, I would like to address a subject that most concerns me: the health and safety of the citizens of our county and the protection of their property. If this permit is granted and mine begins operational, it will discharge all its runoff and wastewater into Elm Creek. Not only are there numerous county residents who own land along this creek immediately downstream of the mine and use the creek for recreational and ranching purposes, but less than 2 miles away from the mine is a housing area known as Elm Creek Subdivision and South Elm Creek Subdivision. There are nearly 100 homes there. The dangers posed to the citizens who live there have been fully demonstrated by the floods we have endured in the past 2 years. In June of 2013, over 15 inches of rain fell in the mine area in 24 hours. In June of 2014, 12 inches of rain fell in 24 hours in Spofford at the headwaters of Elm Creek. Both these rain events caused severe flooding and damage to the homes in the Elm Creek subdivision. Now, I did hear some of the statements that were made prior to our comments right now in the portion that was not recorded. And I will state that I understand that you all have requirements that you follow and that people meet those requisites. But I also want you to understand that I have directly represented that area for over 15 years as a county commissioner and as county judge. We've had significant flooding in the past, 1998 and in the early 2000s. But never have we gone through what we went through in the last 2 years. And although I understand the statement about the amount of people who sign a petition, the amount of people who you don't take into consideration when a decision isn't made, as long as requirements are met, some of the statements that were made earlier were referring to permits that were granted in '96 and in 2006. I believe that the playing field has changed because we've had 200-year floods in the last 2 years. And most of the requirements that have been met deal with 6 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. We're no longer dealing with that. It's different out here. I know directly exactly what has happened with the people. So when 8,000 people sign a petition, they're asking you to hear them out. They're asking you to take into consideration what they need, regardless of the fact if you're meeting a requirement or not. I know the fact that we've had those 2 floods in the last 2 years allows you to look at, to go back and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe we need to change this requirement. People in this community are getting affected. And when you have more people sign a petition than you have to come out to vote, that should be a message. Because both you and I, we answer to the citizens. We have a responsibility to them, whether we work in an organization where we're appointed or get a job like you all deserve, or whether we're elected. We have a responsibility to represent the rights of our community and to take into consideration some of what you've seen happen in the last 2 years. When I stood here before you and argued against this the last time, we hadn't had those occurrences. And look what happened. More rainfall than we've ever seen. Now, the trend doesn't show that it's going to go back the other way. So when you look at the requirements that have been met, take into consideration that those requirements are met under the old playing field. Thank you. At the same time, I'd like to say that not only is it Maverick County who opposes this project, but the city of Eagle Pass, the Eagle Pass Independent School District, and our hospital district. So every major entity in our community is not in favor, and they're not in favor for a reason. We live here. We're the ones that have to deal with it on a daily basis. So when you make that when you take that into consideration, please think about not only ourselves as elected officials who represent, but the citizens of our community. Thank you.